All right, so why should every man seek to be competitive in some area of his life? The short and easy of it is this. Competition brings out the best in you. If you have an area of your life in which you choose to be competitive, because I'm not saying that this, I'm not talking about areas of your life where you're naturally competitive, whether it's, trying to get a new position at work because you're obviously trying to get that above someone else, or whether you are trying to impress a lady, you're obviously trying to say, you should date me instead of X, Y, or Z, I'm not talking about the natural areas of competition. Now, what I am talking about is a manufactured sense of competition, something that you choose to do, that you go into saying, I'm going to do my damnedest to win at whatever I'm doing in this particular area. And that will have a ripple effect into those other areas of your life where you may, naturally have to be competitive. But my point is, this competition that you choose, it brings out the best in you, and assuming you're going against an honorable opponent, it brings out the best in them as well. And so, we kind of live in an age where people like to hide behind this veil of not being competitive. And to be very clear, there are people who are just naturally competitive. Like I've always kind of considered myself that way, but regardless of whether you find yourself to be like naturally competitive or just not very competitive at all, I think it's important to try and excel in an area where you can compete against someone else in your life, specifically another guy. I think that is actually really helpful, and it brings a sense of adrenaline and excitement to your life that otherwise you won't really find in many other areas. And at the end of it, it allows you to feel a sense of accomplishment, or to understand, okay, I could do a little better in this area. So all in all, it's a learning experience, it's a growing experience, and it's worth doing. It's worth competing against other men. Now, the question may be in your mind, well, where do I compete? What's the area that I should choose to compete in? My answer, I can't answer for you, but I would say whatever you really like to do. So, if you are athletically gifted and you like sports, then there's a cut and clear answer for you. If you want to go be competitive, go play a game of pickup basketball and give it your all. And, I've done that at my local college sometimes, just gone up there and played some hoops with the guys, and it's really fun. I go against guys that are like 7 feet tall and just are super hard to play against. They make me play a certain way, and I have to really just kind of get physical, and it's super fun. And what I've found is when you give your all, the people around you, it kind of sparks this, it ignites this this fire of competition in the people around you. And they're like, well, damn, if he's going 100%, I'm going to go 100% too. And that's when you get the best quality of whatever you're doing, right? So if you're playing a chess match and you're being very competitive, your opponent is going to be very competitive as well, hopefully, and that will bring out the best play in both of you because you're both like, damn, I want to win. Like, he made that next move, I got to do something better. And so you end up getting the highest quality of play in whatever game you may be playing or action you may be doing. And so, that's just yet another reason. It brings out the best in both of you, and it makes the experience the best it possibly could be. Now, I will tell you a couple quick stories real fast. Like, first off, there was a time a couple months back where I had this like little bit of a gap, basically, where I felt like life was going great, and I've been very blessed in so many different ways. But it almost was going too good, and I was like, man, I kind of miss a little bit of like that, like let's go do something crazy, like let's go just crush somebody, and like I think there's an innate thing in a lot of men that they get that feeling, where it's like, I need to compete. And I miss this kind of fire in my life, and I was like, where do I get that fire? Like, where does that come from? And personally, I found out that it was competition. It was like, if I haven't been pitting myself against other men, and so I haven't really been pushing myself to my limits. And so, you just have to adjust your life once you figure those things out. I think a lot of guys feel like that. They're not really, they don't really get fired up about a lot of stuff because they're not choosing to put themselves in those situations. And I'm not blaming you. I was the same exact way. And so I had to find ways to be competitive against other people who were also going to match my competitiveness. And so if you don't have an area of your life where you're choosing to be competitive in, I would just challenge you to try and find that, And so I already talked about like the sports idea. If you're athletic, you like playing sports, well then good for you. If you're not and you use your brain a lot more, here's an idea. Find a couple dudes who may have opposing viewpoints to you, who may disagree with you, and then debate, because that is incredibly competitive. When you have two different ideas, like on just the different sides of the aisle, and they clash, and you have to work out, okay, who's telling the truth here, that can be incredibly competitive. It can get your adrenaline rushing, and obviously, like, don't show your emotions too much, don't get overheated, but there is a bit of a fire that can come about. I'm like, no, I think my idea is right, and the other person's like, no, I think my idea is right. And obviously, the best case scenario is when you guys can agree to potentially change each other's minds. That's always a great place to start when it comes to a conversation. Don't be so hard-headed that you'll never change your viewpoint. Like, be a little bit open-minded so that you can actually like converse with their different points of view. So that's a competitive area of your life that you could choose to go into and say, hey, I'm going to sit down on a Friday night with a couple of my buddies, and we're just going to shoot the shit, and we'll probably come up with some topics that we want to discuss that we might disagree with, and then we're going to put out different points, and we're going to see who is actually telling the truth. And so that's a very competitive area of your life you can choose to go into. Yet another area is, like, as crazy as it sounds, like board games, chess, like I was saying earlier, those can be incredibly competitive. I just played a game of Risk with two of my cousins, and yes, I lost. They're probably laughing at me right now. I lost, but it was very competitive. I didn't go down without a fight. And if you guys don't know what Risk is, it's a board game where the whole point of the game is complete world domination. So your army is supposed to take over the entire world. So it's pretty dictatorial. You are really just trying to take over everything, and it's very cutthroat. Very fun game. Can get very heated, but it's competitive, and then there's a lot of strategy involved, and you're trying to look at what they might do and guess their next move. And so, very fun game. Gets very heated at times. But also, yes, in another area where you could be competitive, or chess, whatever like type of games you like to play. And to be clear, with all these things, there is a time to not be competitive. I'm not saying that every time you do something, I'm not one of the people that would argue, oh, well, if you're not being competitive 100% of the time, you're doing life wrong and you're not a real man. I'm not saying that. I think that's a bullshit argument. What I am saying is that there are areas of your life that I think it would make you happier to like choose, to proactively go out and choose and say, I wish to do my absolute best in this area for the aspect of competition that would bring about. So, I've told you, my story about Risk. I will tell you a story real fast about my buddy Leo. So, I think I mentioned last week that I haven't been working out as much as I need to, or probably eating as well as I would like to. And so, I have a buddy who came in for my bachelor party last weekend. Great guy. I went to college with him, and we would lift together a lot of the time. We would work out, and we were super competitive with each other. It was super fun. And anyways, he came here a day earlier before my bachelor party, so I got to hang out with him for a full day. It was super fun. And one of the things we decided to do was like, hey, like for old time's sake, let's get a lift in together. That'd be fun. And we decided to make it kind of a game and make it pretty competitive. So we had like a circuit of exercises we would do. And this story actually is able to bring out a lot of truth in it. So that's why I want to tell it. So, Leo is amazing at a lot of exercises. I'm okay at a lot of exercises. And so it was funny because we had these different types of exercises in this circuit, and I would be really good at one, and he'd be really good at the other, and he was good at more than I was, for sure, because he's in better shape than I am, and that's a credit to him because he works out really hard in the gym, and he makes time for that. But it was funny because when I'd reach areas that I was like, okay, I know I have a chance to beat him in this area, I would push myself so hard, and he would do the same exact thing. I mean, we pushed ourselves as hard as we could down the stretch, but you get into these areas where it's like, oh, I think I could probably get him here, and so that kind of goes to a point that, competition, it helps you bring out your strengths, and you get to figure out, okay, where could I do better, and where am I most likely to fail? And then, when you're in that competitive mindset, you actually just learn to lean into your strengths and do your best with your weaknesses, but understand that they are probably weaknesses. So it also, like competition, it teaches you something about yourself. And I just think there's a huge lack of competition, like fun competition in today's world. Like the Greeks used to get together all the time and have these giant like conclaves of just men that would come together and compete with each other. And it would make legends. You'd have stories created out of these things because people would do these incredible feats. Because why? Because they're going against a huge mass of men that's like, I want to be better than all of them. And they all have that mindset. And it really it made some amazing stories. But I also think that it was probably an amazing bonding experience. Because even when I play against like a pickup basketball team and I lose, if I've given my all, then, all I can do is shake their hands and respect them because they just fair and square beat the shit out of me. You know what I mean? And I'm not great at basketball, but I do like to, when I play, I really go all out. I've been labeled a sweat at times, It's like, why are you such a sweat? It's like, because I want to freaking win, Like, that's what I'm playing to win. And so, yeah, I guess competition, as an overview, brings out the best in your competitor, brings out the best in you. It teaches you about yourself. It shows you the weaknesses and strengths that you may have in a particular area. And also, one of the things I will harp on again and again when it comes to competition is this. It adds fire to your life. Like, you forget how fun it is until you become competitive again and you reach back into that bag. Because I think a lot of times, like, guys in high school, they kind of are just naturally competitive. Whatever it is, they're just, like, trying to elbow the other guy out of the way and, like, yeah, like, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And then, at least for me, a lot of the times, like that, there were things that I found out it was stupid to be competitive about, for sure. But I also, in a lot of ways, lost some of that competitiveness because I wasn't in the areas where I could partake in competitive things. And so, as men, if we want to live like an area of our life competitively, we have to choose to go to it. It's not just going to happen most of the time. It's really not. And yeah, so anyways, it will make great memories. It will teach you a lot about yourself. And most importantly, it will just add some fire to your life that you may be missing in a world that constantly is preaching comfort to you and like pleasure and all these things that kind of squelch this fire. They're like, oh, just be comfortable, relax. Sometimes as a dude, it feels good to not relax. Sometimes it feels good to be staring an opponent in the eye and saying, bro, I'm gonna beat you. You're gonna lose, and I'm gonna make this happen. And that can add just an element of adrenaline and just fire to your life. So don't neglect that part of who you are. Like, choose to be competitive in a certain area of your life. And if you lose, you lose. Try your hardest in that area, and you'll know that you went down honorably, okay? And you can do better the next time. So that's all I have to say on competition. I hope you enjoyed. Let's